athletes, key influential executives share how they make money, how they attract power, and how they earn respect. I got my partner in crime, Mr. Career Crossover, Mr. Kevin Carr, from pro to CEO. What it do, baby? How's life treating you, man?
Hey man, that never gets old. Appreciate the introduction. And my man 50 Grant all the way from Brooklyn's
Brooklyn's in
in
the
the
house.
house, no doubt. What's
That's
up,
right,
Brooklyn? Shout out
man.
to New York.
Yeah, man, it's getting cold in New York, just like it's getting a little cold down here in Florida,
I
right?
know, look at us. We got like actually beyond windbreakers on here. I'm up to my neck, maybe, but nah, we enjoy the weather. It's fair weather down here, so we getting a little taste. Tiny, we can't even compare to most of the country. We still blessed.
We are very blessed, man. So, what's going on with the news of sports? Man, there's a lot going on, man.
Man, I
NBA
can't.
starting.
Yeah, I can't wait to the season to get it going again. We actually got basketball right here in Tampa. We got the Tampa Raptors. I'm gonna go ahead and give it to them for the season.
That's right.
And we got a little bit of
Amber
as
Raptors.
yes, they moved here, and now we're looking at a little bit of off-season color. The little
Mm-hmm.
of commentary that came from Kyrie aimed at LeBron James, actually. And I don't know if anybody's been following, but LeBron said it. You can read it for yourself. I'm not making this up. He said he was a little hurt by the comments of Kyrie implying that there was a lack of faith in his late game abilities. Now, everybody knows LeBron James, when he's on your team, you're almost a lock, pretty much a lock for the finals. And
Mhm.
for anyone to question LeBron's abilities to go hard in the final and his willingness to actually be an unselfish teammate, he actually passes the ball way more than most guys that I've ever seen with his time, with his ability. So I'm a little taken back by the comments. I know Kyrie
Hmm.
well. I know Kyrie as well, and he has big confidence in himself. I will tell you, every single NBA player I've ever met, no doubt believes he's one of the best in the world, which he is. So therefore, all of them feel they can make that shot. But I will say it came at a crazy time for LeBron in the midst of the finals, and he couldn't comment on it, which he shouldn't have. And he went ahead and got his what next title. So we'll see how it goes, but it's almost uncharacteristic to hear that LeBron James is the kind of guy that you think you can outdo pretty much the best player in modern day basketball in the last 17.
That's interesting.
Very interesting comment.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think,
We'll
partner?
get your feedback. We're going to introduce you right. But we,
What you
we
think?
we'll love to get you some insights. So take some notes, girl. Take some notes.
I
But
will definitely take notes because I love basketball and I love sports. So, okay.
Joel,
So
so
yeah, so
so
I want to touch on a couple.
no, go ahead,
Yeah, I
man.
want to
We're
touch on a
hearing
couple
you.
of
We're
things
not
such
really hearing
as
you in the mic. Come on closer to the mic, brother. We're not really hearing you. Now I think we're gonna
hold
be
on, brother.
yeah. We gotta get
Hold
the
on.
acoustics right. We gotta get our sound right. We got all the tech in the world. We got DJ Anna on the ones and twos. So I know we got premium sound here. We gotta hear that big crispy bass that you got there as well. So let's bring it on in.
Yeah, we're experiencing some technical difficulties.
Nothing
Can
we
you hear me
can't
now?
handle. Yeah, we can hear you.
It's all good. It'll be just
Also
fine.
right. And I will say this that college football playoffs just came out. If you guys didn't realize that the rankings are out, we see Alabama number one,
Hmm.
number two, Notre Dame, Clemson number three, rounding out with Ohio State, the top four. Right now, college playoffs are ranked, and this is the first announcement. So stay tuned. Every weekend it can change. So
It could change. It could change. I'm
There
back
you
now. I'm
go.
back,
Oh
baby.
man,
Yeah, you
there
So
sound
you
great.
go, man. I gave you. I had to bring you in
yeah,
because
yeah.
we know how you sound, man. Go ahead.
So I want to give a big shout out to my man Easy Mo B. Today's his birthday.
Mm-hmm.
Big shout out to Nicki Minaj as well. Today's her birthday. You know,
Sagittarius season. I'm a
um,
Sag as well.
that's right. Sagittarius season. You know what they do. You know what they do. That's right. DJ Anna's a Sagittarius as well.
Happy
So,
birthday. I just had a
um,
Hey,
birthday November 29th.
okay. Well, happy belated. We
Thank
giving it
you.
up to you too. And that's less than 3 weeks, so we're gonna give you your
Yeah, thank you.
props.
I appreciate it.
You
I
still celebrating?
Yeah, Sagittarians, we pretty much rock a whole month. So it is what it is. I thank you very much.
hey, that's the way you got to do it. So
Especially in
we, I want
2020. I'm thankful I'm alive and healthy. How about that?
amen to that for real, for
Absolutely.
real. Let's
For
also give a
real.
big
Absolutely.
shout out to let's give a big shout out to Charlemagne the God with his new contract with iHeartRadio for
Go ahead,
5 years.
Sherman.
Cha-ching, cha-ching. Woo wee. That's
Go
a
ahead,
nice one.
Sherman. That's a big deal.
Then we That's a huge deal. Then we got Crazy Legs. You know, Crazy Legs is one of the biggest well-known global hip hop
Right?
dancers, and
Mm-hmm.
now the Olympics is going to feature breakdancing, so that's huge.
Wow. Okay. I
Very
Um,
like
cool.
that.
Very cool, actually.
also to piggyback off of that, I want to shout out to Mr. Rocky Bucano at the Universal Hip Hop Museum. They are breaking ground in the South Bronx, and this man has been doing phenomenal stuff. I'm going to definitely get him on the show because this is the man that's worked with the Gauchos, the AAU team. You know about them, Kevin. And
Mm-hmm.
then he did
Mm-hmm.
a little bit of banking. And then now he's the executive director of the nonprofit of the Universal Hip Hop Museum. So I'm really, really excited about that.
Mm-hmm.
And belated birthday to Dr. Dre. Although he's not in the best of health, but let's
Yeah.
pray for him.
Love
And
Dr.
speaking of
Dre.
speaking of health, I mean, right now, mental health is definitely a very important point. And so, I want to leave a phone number for folks. There's an organization called NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Illness. They have a 24-hour helpline. The number is 800-950-6264. A lot of us have experienced a lot of loss, whether it's loved ones, family, friends, associates, uh, whether you yourself personally, because of this
Mm-hmm.
COVID and being quarantined. Thank God for D Nice and his impromptu sets and things of that nature. But the reality of the situation is, if you need help, please use this number again. I'm going to read it back to you
And very
again. It
important.
is it is very important. It's 1-800-950-6264. And without further ado, I need to
Mm-hmm.
provide an excellent introduction to the person that we have today here on Power Moves. And let me just get my intro right. So hold on. Hold
Mm-hmm.
on.
Yeah, we only get to do this once, so we got to roll out the red carpet as best we can
Thank
on
you,
Zoom.
gentlemen, and DJ Ann.
Yes, we
You know.
have to give you your props.
So
Thank
first
you.
and
Hard.
foremost, this is this university is kind of like one of my best kept secret universities because I love them ever since Len Bias. So I'm a little dating myself, but
Turk
Okay.
Turks?
but we had Laurent Prophet that was on the show
The
several
Yeah.
Ron.
months
Terrapins.
ago. So so as you can tell, our guest here is a college graduate of the University of Maryland, College
Okay.
Park.
Okay.
Turks, Turks.
She
Terrapins, stand
has
up.
this.
Everybody else sit down.
That's right. That's right. She has started the Daria Fennell Media Group, and she secured clients exposure in the following media outlets, among others: Forbes Magazine, Fox 5 Morning News, Washington, D.C., The Washington Post, XM Satellite Radio, BET 106 in Park, The Washington Afro American, The New York Amsterdam News, I mean, et cetera, et cetera. She's written
Yes.
for Uptown Magazine, for Music Soul Child. She's done work with TV One's Media, worked with Tawanda Braxton of the Braxton Family Values, Angela Robinson as Veronica Harrington on Owns the Haves and Have Nots. The
Tyler Perry.
uh, Tyler Perry. She's also interviewed and published articles on Anthony Hamilton, you know, the
Mm-hmm.
soul brother,
Love Anthony
John
Hamilton.
Legend, and you know, the infamous Cookie Taraji Henson. Let's welcome to the show, Daria Fennell, the PR marketing extraordinaire in the place to
Thank
be.
you so
Welcome
much.
to Power
Thank you guys
Moves.
for having me. I really appreciate this. Thank you for this opportunity.
Well, we enjoy having you, and we want to tap into your brains and what you do, and that if that charismatic smile that you got going on is just
I try.
wonderful.
I try because 2020 tested my sweetheart and positive gangster, but we made it through.
We made it through. We made it through. So
They are.
so set us off, Kev.
Absolutely. One of the things I
Hi,
love
Kevin.
to talk. Hi, pleasure and honor to have you on the air with us. We're so delighted
Thank
to have
you.
such an esteemed guest as yourself, and with all your accolades, we could go on and on, but we do have a show we got to get to.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me.
one
I
of the
really appreciate it.
one of the foundational elements that we try to do in my company is we teach on principle centered leadership, and one of the areas that I want to talk to you about, and it's plain and simple, it's not
Mhm.
hard to discuss at all, is around the values of attitude and passion. As I look at it, define in your mind attitude and passion as it pertains to you and your brand, and how
Mhm.
does, if you do it well, how does that attract monetary success, the money?
I actually, first off, I love that question. Second of all, passion and attitude has actually blessed me with my career in the first place. I'm 100% completely self taught. I didn't go to Maryland for journalism, I didn't go to Maryland for PR. I actually graduated. My BA from University of Maryland is in Afro American Studies with a minor in film and theater. I love Black history. I'm a very proud African American woman. And I actually started writing when I was 10. My
Hmm.
grandmother was my editor. So it's like that's how I started writing. So I've been writing since I was 10. And I turned 47 November 29th. So I've been writing literally 37 years. Like that's crazy.
Mm.
But right, I'm like, where does that go? But actually, attitude is kind of what got me 100% into my career. Is at Maryland, I taught myself how to write my first press release. And we had a company on campus, like an organization on campus named the Student Black Women's Council. I taught myself how to write my first press release. And what happened was we invited DJ. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Easy Street in the DC area.
Mhm.
He's really big on the radio. So Easy Street came out to one of our events, and I was like, that is too cool. Like, my words just brought him out. Okay. So my friend Sophia, I'll never forget, he said, well, Daria, while you're doing that, why don't you just go out for PR director for C Productions? And everybody as an undergrad knows C Productions on Maryland's campus is 100% student run. Like we bring in all the entertainers, like whoever comes to campus, we bring them in and it's all the students do it, booking, PR. I became the PR director. So from there, I started working on campus. Literally my sophomore year, I became an entertainment publicist officially. So I started doing on campus promotion and PR for Wu Tang Clan.
Mm.
I love Method Man. That's a whole nother thing. I started. I love math. I love math. I started working on campus and securing press for Wu Tang Clan, Run DMC, G Love, and Special Sauce. And also, I work with Lonice Bias, Dr. Lonice Bias now, Lynn Bias's mom.
Mm.
Came to campus for one of our events called Art Attack. And unfortunately, she's lost both of her sons. It's not just Lynn. Her son Jay, unfortunately, was murdered in Maryland, maybe like 5 to 6 years after Lynn Bias passed away.
Mm.
So she was just a very strong, inspirational woman. And once I started working with people like Dr. Bias and, Run DMC and Wu Tang, it just let me know. I'm like, this is what I love this. I didn't know I wanted to be a publicist per se, But I've always loved popular culture. Since I was like little, me and my sister, or whoever came to the DC area, we would know, who was coming to Capitol Center, whether it's MC Hammer or Salt and Pepper. Me and my sister and brother always knew who produced, on back of the albums. Like, so I've always grown up in that. My parents love music. My uncle used to play saxophone on tour with Millie Jackson, the iconic Millie Jackson.
Yes.
Wow.
So, my whole family loves music. I mean, I listen to everything from go-go to Linkin Park to, I love country. I'm a big country fan. Jason
Mm.
Aldean, Roscoe Flats, Kane Brown, Jimmy Allen, yada, yada, yada. So
Okay.
I've always just loved and had passion for what I do. So when it gets hard, like it did this year, as on one hand, as a Black American, as an African American, the social justice piece, rest in peace to Mr. George Floyd and Miss Breonna Taylor. And I don't talk about that too much because everybody knows I get so upset about how our people were treated.
Mm-hmm.
But it also opened up the world's eyes to how we're treated on a daily basis in America. So it was like this year was a good and a bad at the same time. And
Mm-hmm.
how passion translates into how I make money is that energy attracts people to
Mm-hmm.
you.
Mm-hmm.
And and the thing about being a publicist, guys, it's not easy, right? It's like you have to meet the person you want to represent, but then you have to start kind of courting them, kind of creating a relationship, a light relationship where they trust you, because trusting your brand with somebody is a very important um, that's a very important thing. Like whether it's me as publicist or somebody else managing you as a talent
Mm-hmm.
manager, all of that is very important to who you are and the money you make. And I've literally seen artists miss out on money, guys, because they don't have the right representation. The people who are either their publicist or managing them are some of the, when they're nasty and they have that caustic energy, nobody wants to deal with you. You can be the best singer on the face of the planet, but if
Mm-hmm.
your representation turns people off, they're just going to block you off and not even deal with you.
Mm.
So you got to be careful about what energy you have around you. You actually, and you also have to have people who are passionate about what you do and not there just to collect a check. Because what we do doesn't happen overnight. It's about relationships, about people who are interested in your client. Then things unfold, but the interest has to be there. So you have to watch your energy. Even in a year like this year, I'm a Black woman for the rest of my life. You know what I mean? So, your issue with that literally has nothing to do with me. I love being Black. I always will be Black. And that's like, whatever. So I just kind of shook that off sometimes this year because I'm like, on the one hand, there's all this going on with the Black community and my community, but on the other hand, I still got to be a CEO and I still got to rock it out, which I did. So it just, energy plays into everything that we do. And you got to keep it positive and keep positive people around you that are there for the right reasons. And I feel blessed to have a tribe that loves me when I'm winning. They love me when I'm losing. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
I think that's also what's kind of blessing me. My mom is like my biggest cheerleader. And then my sister, who actually also graduated from Maryland, is also a Terp. And she's a Black woman CEO who's a very high fashion makeup artist. So we go hard in our family for real, for real. And I want to just, say condolences to my brother who passed away like 5 years ago. So, I miss him, but my family has always been part of my biggest cheerleaders in my tribe. And that I keep that good energy around. You know what I mean? So
That's
where's
awesome.
Kevin? Kevin dropped off.
He dropped off, but he'll be back.
Okay.
So Connie, can you share with us how important is it for even regular employees to work with a PR marketing person? Like, how does your words generate money?
That's a great question, Joel. What I would say though to, people who are regular employees, if you love what you do, I could care less what you do and how you do it, right? But you have to realize that your personal brand, whether you're an employee or an employer or a CEO, how all that carries over until you making money, right? You
Mm-hmm.
got to make sure that people enjoy being around you. You got to be a man or woman of your word, that you get your work done, that it's not a lot of, teeth pulling, Joel. Every time I ask for your project, I'll get it to you. No, that's not going to work, especially when, let's be honest, Joel, when it comes around to getting a raise or
Mm-hmm.
making more money, are you going to give it to the person who's always making excuses? The work's always late? Or are you going to give it to the person who's always a man or woman of their word, always comes in with a smile on their face no matter what's happening in their personal life? Which one are you going to give it to? And so that's why PR, your personal brand, is as important as your professional brand. And honestly, the two are tied together. I don't think you can really separate your personal brand, what you do in public versus what you do in private, and those be two different people. It's the same person. So
Mm-hmm.
you need to carry yourself the way you want to be represented all the time. And I keep telling people, branding, they throw around the word branding, Joel. Everybody wants to be a brand and all of that.
Right.
But there's so much that goes into branding. Branding is the way that you dress. Branding is the way you cut your hair. Branding is the way that you answer someone's email, the tone of the email. That's even part of your brand. How do you talk to people? And verbally on a Zoom call, in the office, via email, on the telephone, all of that is your brand. So you need to, whether you're a CEO or employee, I want you to be happy on whatever you choose to do, because not everybody is the same.
Mm-hmm.
I love running my own company, but some of my friends, honestly, Joel, they love being employees. And I respect that so much. Like, do what makes your heart sing. Like, what rocks my boat may not rock your boat, but I so respect that and I love that.
You know,
So it's just like,
I
yeah,
want to follow up with that question though even
okay.
further, because I'll give you a really good example. You know, you look at the I believe it's Rashida Jones, not
Mm-hmm.
Quincy Jones's daughter, but
MSNBC,
the
the new head of
executive.
MSNBC, yeah.
Yes, she was senior vice president, and now she's running the entire network of MSNBC. And so you look at a person like that. Every time she got a promotion, she it was broadcasted to
Mm-hmm.
the different media streams, right? So
Mm-hmm.
once again, that's kind of like part of your brand. She's an
Oh,
employee.
definitely.
She's not an entrepreneur. So how do, and that's what I mean when I ask that question. How do
Okay.
folks like that leverage PR to be able to constantly get them that next gig or that next better situation?
Well, I think people like that, first of all, I'm sure Rashida is a really good networker, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And being a Black woman who's breaking barriers, I'm sure that she's networking with other people from other media outlets, to keep her bosses on their toes. Because Rashida could have easily been CEO of another cable network, Joel, and not MSNBC. So that's number one.
Mm-hmm.
It's knowing how important she is, knowing that if she's breaking barriers, we want her on our team. So I'm sure, that is one thing. She's a great networker. Number two, I'm sure she is a team player. And I mean, in the sense that she wants the greater team to win. It's not just about Rashida, but
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day, when she's helping everyone else win, Joelle, she's winning. Apparently,
That's right.
you know what I
That's
mean?
right.
So I think that's what part of being a personal brand is. It's just being integrity filled, whatever your title is. The title is not so much more important than the whole team, right? So let's be honest, if Rashida wasn't a person who's a team player, if it was always about Rashida and nobody else, she wouldn't be the president of MSNBC. I could tell you that straight up. So I just love
Mm.
seeing Black women breaking barriers and doing the damn thing. Because as you and I both know, it's hard to be a Black woman sometimes. We're not your stereotype.
Well, I mean,
I love you.
I wouldn't know what it's like being a black woman, but I could tell you,
Dang, Joel,
yes,
you so
but
silly.
but but my sisters, yeah, I empathize.
Yes, Joel, that's what I meant. You know of how hard it is to be a Black woman. But as a Black man, you know what it is. We get that stigma, unfortunately, I love being a black woman, and empathize with us.
Of
But
course.
being a black woman is I love it, but it's not. It's like we always say, like me and my mom talk about being black. Period. It's like the toughest job you'll ever love. Like being a black woman. It's like being a black woman is like constantly being online for a sorority. It's like sometimes
Hmm.
that's how I feel. Like what I mean. So it's like,
Yes.
but with Rashida becoming being named like Kevin, me and Joel were talking about Rashida Jones being the first Black woman head of MSNBC. And I
Mm-hmm.
was pretty much saying if Rashida was just about Rashida and wasn't a team player, she would have been chosen. That's number
Mm-hmm.
one. And
Mm-hmm.
the other thing, second thing is, like I told Joel, she's a queen. I know she's a queen networker. I love to
Mm-hmm.
network. It's just my personality, y'all. I'm an
Mm-hmm.
extrovert. I just, this COVID thing, I just pray to God this hurry up and go somewhere
For
where I don't have
real.
to wear my mask. It's just a real. I lost a friend to COVID in March at 48 years old. She's a year older than me. So,
Mm.
like, I know, Femi was awesome. Y'all would have loved her. She was a Black woman down with the Black community, very proud visual artist, Black woman teaching the young people about art and Black history through art. She was amazing. Like, you would have loved her. And she passed in March. And the thing is, I don't really even think my friend even knew what she passed of, that because that was way before COVID became a nightly thing, right, on the news.
Right.
And she
Right.
Right.
probably just thought she just died of the flu, right? But we
Yeah.
Right.
lost so many amazing people this year, and I don't mean just celebrities. I'm talking about the strong Black women and men in our communities that we needed and that we need. And so, condolences to everybody on their
Mm.
losses, because this has been a rough year, and I've never seen loss in my 47 years of life. I've never seen loss so overwhelming like this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
I just pray for everybody, y'all, because it has been a very rough year, and I think we're all been traumatized. And when next year comes around and we're able to actually look back on this year, I just thank God we made it. That's
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
just
I mean, that's the
yeah,
truth, Daria. And
yeah.
and I think the other thing about it is, you know, where I find a little bit of solace is
Hmm.
I feel that as the living, we have a responsibility to carry the torch forward,
Hmm.
basically. And so as long as, we
I totally agree with that.
take the spirit of all of our loved ones that are now becoming ancestors,
Hmm.
and we understand the lessons that they learned while they were on this earth, and we experience, some great times with them, that we're able to push it forward. Even one of my associates, he's related to Andre Harrell, and you know him,
Yeah.
O'Neill,
Yeah, I'm
and
so sad Andre passed this year. I'm stunned because he was so full of life that it was kind of like Andre
yeah,
Harrell passed away. Like, are you
yeah,
serious?
yeah,
That's a generator, the creator of Uptown, Jodeci.
Mm-hmm.
I love Jodeci to this day. I love Jodeci.
that's right.
I was
And
listening to Jodeci the other day, and G Nice played him a couple weeks ago.
that's right.
So, and Ninth
And
Wonder be playing Jodeci and Brian Michael Cox, but that's a whole nother thing. So, but yeah, Andre Harrell was amazing, like
Mm-hmm.
and it's like one thing I love about blackness and black culture, y'all. We are the culture. See, that's the
Mm-hmm.
thing. People try to take our culture and sell it back to us, but we are the culture. We've always
Mm-hmm.
been the culture.
hmm
We'll always be the culture, and we're the culture now.
Mm-hmm.
So, what are you
Absolutely.
talking about? You can't sell me my own culture back.
well,
Okay, y'all. I'm
and
sorry.
what's
Yes.
I had to
funny,
get that
Yes.
and that
off.
was
Yeah, I had to get
and
that
that was
off.
kind of like my point is that even though Andre is gone,
Hmm.
his spirit of black excellence, and even
And
we got
swag and
we're
black
gonna
swagness.
we're getting ready we have to go on break and stuff, but I want to
Mm.
end on this note.
Okay.
His spirit of black excellence, and what D Nice did. If you didn't see the last set that D Nice did, it was a CQ8 After Dark. Check it out, where he played Sammy Davis Jr. But on that note, this is Power Moves on
Mm-hmm.
In Touch News,
I was there.
reality
I was
radio,
in
where
tears.
everyone is a star. Call in 813-444-9588. If you're looking for some PR tips, branding tips, We are live.
Mm-hmm.
See you in 2 minutes or 1 minute, depending upon how DJ Anna feels.
We'll be back.
I see. Very nice. Thank you, child. That was really cool. I was really enjoying this.
But now we're live on the radio, so be careful what you say.
Sorry. Oh, my mic is hot. Okay.
Real hot.
Thank you for telling me that.
Purpose.
I know you're gonna dig this.
With Keith Harris and attorney Monica Harris is every Saturday morning at 11 a.m. What's your purpose? In Touch Radio.
It may be hard to believe, but people just like you are already saving money. FeedThePig.org makes it easy. Their simple savings plan teaches you how to start saving without going overboard, so you don't need to start foraging wild berries.
I was skeptical, but these are actually pretty good.
You don't need to sell your soul to the devil.
$15 is the best I can do.
You just need FeedThePig.org. Don't get left behind. Get tips and tools at FeedThePig.org. Brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
Welcome to Calvin's Barbershop.
You all gotta see this.
I don't even want to know what you're looking at on that phone.
Well, you should. I was learning about the dangers of high blood pressure and that we need to get ours checked regularly. High blood pressure can increase the risk of heart attack or stroke, but this text program can help keep it at a healthy range. Just text barbershop to 97779 to sign up.
I'll get right on it as soon as I'm done with this baby panda video.
Text Barbershop to 97779. A message from the American Heart Association and the Ad Council.
The Sole Purpose.
I know you're gonna dig this.
With Keith Harris and attorney Monica Harris is every Saturday morning at 11 a.m. What's your purpose? In Touch Radio.
We back. Back with my partner in crime, Mr. Career Crossover. Our super duper special guest, Daria Fennell with the Daria Fennell
Media Group.
Media Group in the place to be.
Thank
And
you for
speaking
having
of
me.
media, you're welcome. Speaking of media, one of the ladies, the iconic individuals when it came down to PR in my generation has been Terry Williams.
Of course, Miss Terry, man.
She is the goddess and diva of PR and marketing. She's helped Miles Davis, Johnny Cochran, Eddie Murphy, Essence Magazine. So within your profession, you're the engine that it triggers that emotional attachment from the artist to the brand to the consumer, generating lots of revenue. Can you explain the power of the type of money that can be generated by what you do in your field as PR and branding?
I mean, Terry Williams, Miss Terry Williams, first of all, I have to just give credit to that icon. She broke down so many doors for Black men and Black women in publicity and PR. So I always give Miss Williams amazing props. Also, too, it's interesting. She started working with Eddie Murphy back in the day. And I think what's interesting is Terry just kind of built and laid some groundwork for us to come behind her. Working with Eddie Murphy, he got a lot of endorsements, and that was kind of unheard of, especially being a Black artist, a Black actor, a Black comedian. Eddie Murphy made a lot more, he broke a lot of revenue records. So that's number one. Number two, who also helps to build the brand of the Black actor and Black brand. We got to take it back to Run DMC. We got to take it back to Adidas. They didn't have endorsements before Run DMC, especially in the Black culture. You didn't have endorsements until they started rocking them Adidas, and that just took off, right? So I always give Run DMC their props for breaking those barriers. But we're still breaking barriers now, but I think that Black artists and Black personalities are getting compensated properly. For the most part, we still got a long way to go, especially in the music industry. I think the music industry, not even just for Black artists, it just set up for all artists not to have a positive contract, not to make the money they should be making. I just think it's just very. The music industry it's never going to be back on good terms because it was started off so poorly, I guess. So I just wish all the music artists, I hate seeing Black artists. Like, that's why D-Nice, I was in tears literally when D Nice broke it down about the way that Black artists have paved the the way and the path that Black artists have paved for him, because
Mm-hmm.
I know what Black artists, and especially in America, went through. Both my parents are from Georgia, and I still hear stories of how they were treated in 40s, 50s Georgia, like ridiculous,
Mm-hmm.
ridiculous. So he got me in my feelings because he played, and I love Donny Hathaway. That's one of my favorite artists. And he played "Someday We'll All Be Free." And
Mm-hmm.
it's like those lyrics are so poignant to even today.
Yes.
In 2020, unfortunately, like I said, we're dealing with the Mr. George Floyd's of the world, and how cruel. I would never treat any living thing, any living human being like that.
Right.
Let them. It breaks my heart.
So Daria,
Um,
got a question. I feel the
mhm.
passion coming. You're
Yeah.
pretty electric. How do you find passion in what you do for others? How has that helped you? Grow your brand, grow yourself financially as well. Like
Yeah.
how?
Um, I actually, I always, I've always, okay, how can I say this? I've always been ahead of everybody else, being self taught. I didn't
Hmm.
have the bounds that some of my friends who are publicists who went to PR school, or, what have you, or journalism school. I always knew, I just went by my intuition. So that's always been a blessing for me, is
Hmm.
that I didn't have any mentors. I'm 100% completely self taught. And so I pour into the new Black journalists, the new
Hmm.
Black publicists. So when I get high off of them learning, as well as teaching them, because like I said, I didn't have any mentors. I really had to like learn it through, sweat, more blood and tears. But I want them to have it a lot easier than I did. But the thing is, my passion was always there. Like I didn't have it easy at all, but the passion was always there. And God always blessed me with a person, one, the question to ask, and number two, the person to ask the question to. And that's very important. It's not just to know what question to ask,
Mm.
but who can actually answer your question. And so I let my young people know, it's like we make it a lot easier for you guys as young Black publicists and journalists, but you still got to do the work. See,
Hmm.
that's what I think sometimes this younger generation doesn't get. Like social media, we didn't have no social media in no 1988. But what I can tell you though, I can write my butt off. I don't care if, Facebook goes away tomorrow. I hope not, because I love Facebook. But if Facebook goes away tomorrow, Instagram goes away tomorrow, I can write my butt off. I
Hmm.
know how to write a proper letter. Some people that are accomplished still don't know how to write a letter. Like, what is
Hmm.
that about? Like, why? What?
Mm.
So it's like I can still communicate. I know how to get in touch with somebody if I need to. If I need to go to their house, if I need to send a letter in the mail, I know how to put a stamp on that joint. If I need to,
So I like what you're
just knowing
saying.
having my tools and knowing no matter what, I'm going to succeed no matter what.
Right.
Mm.
So essentials are key here. So the
Yes.
fundamentals, like in sports, the fundamentals for just being successful, you still
Mm-hmm.
need to know and have tenacity around reading, writing,
Mm-hmm. Communication
composing
runs the
and
world,
communication.
Kevin.
Right.
It
Right.
does. It runs the world. And lack of communication is the problem between the races, right?
Hmm.
Lack of
Mm-hmm.
communication, when you don't know, you don't talk to someone, you fear them and you have no idea why. Communication runs the world. So if you can just get that part down and be respectful in your communication of somebody else, you can have different thoughts.
Hmm.
But if you can just communicate and be respectful of somebody else,
Why?
so much
Why?
more could be pushed further.
I love what you're digging into, and I do see this the eroding of the skill set there.
Mm-hmm.
Why has it gone away so quickly and reduced to 140 characters around
That's the
the
issue.
abilities
That's
of
the issue.
people?
It's like
Have
140
we gotten that
characters.
lazy though?
Yeah,
Are
I
we
think
really?
so. I
Okay.
think so, honestly. I think Kevin and Joel, we have gotten so lazy that we don't communicate properly, right? Like My friends and family know. Like at 47, like I tell them all the time, I didn't grow up on cell phones. I didn't grow up on text messages. And if this takes more than one text message, I'm picking up the telephone. We're not going to text this all back and forth. We're not doing that. You know, if it's important, I'm gonna pick up the phone, and that's part of it right there, y'all. Nobody wants to get off they text message. Nobody wants to look up. Nobody wants to really communicate and have that real heart to heart conversation. And some of that is so important to communication, whether it's a romantic relationship, whether it's friendships, whether it's your relationship with your family, whether it's relationship with your employees, whether it's relationship with your colleagues. Communication runs all of that. So in the world of social media, which is a great tool to have, I tell all my young people, that's awesome, that's dope. I didn't have no Instagram. I barely had a computer at Maryland '94. We started getting the internet. Wow. It's like we didn't have that. But you got to still, at the heart of everything is communication. You have to be succinct and clear in knowing what you want and communicating that. And sometimes it's like such a minor thing, but it goes on social media. I notice people have, beef with each other. They'll blow it up on social media when all it took was a telephone call to squash whatever issue they were having and just coming to, resolution. I don't know. I just feel like we're scared to talk to each other now, or it's just kind of weird, y'all. But that kind of goes around everything else. Like I said, communicating, but you also have to communicate properly with yourself and speak life to yourself to radiate the energy that people want to be around, radiate the energy that people want to hire you, radiate the energy that even during a pandemic, I'm still being blessed with a really dope, I can't announce them just yet, but I'm talking to a really dope, um, undervalued, very positive rap artist from like 10, 15 years ago that I'm talking to tomorrow about possibly doing some PR for him. Um, it's just so many, but also too, it's just so many dope artists, period, that I feel like never got their just due because they weren't visible enough. And your visibility, unfortunately, in 2020 is very important because there's so many people doing what you do. How are you going to stand out? What's important? What's exciting about you? Because there's millions, literally millions of artists. So you got to have something that makes you stand out. You know what I mean? And that's why I think, honestly, that's why I think I love country music so much, is that the lyrics mean something. They're saying something. And like they're giving you positive emotions. Also, as a Black woman, I know that country was created by Black people as well as pretty much every popular genre on the face of the planet. So, country uses the fiddle. The fiddle was discovered in Africa. Like, I know my history. So it's like, I know, I'm not just a person who loves entertainment. I know why I love certain entertainment. I know why certain things resonate with me. I know why I want Black artists to win. I know why I want people, like I did today, I did my blueprint masterclass on PR branding and publicity for creatives. I want them to take that amazing raw talent God blessed them with and package it in a way that people will be open to it. I have to see too many amazing artists, y'all. They have everything they need, but it's just sloppy. You know what I mean? It's a turnoff. Let's be honest. I've gotten so many bios in my career, on the one hand, y'all, as a celebrity entertainment journalist, and then on the other hand, I've been pitched as a publicist. And I'm like, there's 3,000 typos in it. If you don't care enough, I don't care. And that's going right in the garbage can. I'm going to tell you straight up. People may not tell it to you, but they're not going to look at your email. You know what I mean? I'm going to keep it real. I'm not reading that. If you're not taking the time to care about yourself and your career, then why should I? Make sure that bio's tight. Make sure that bio's only 2 pages. No typos, grammatically correct. Make sure it pops off the page. It's not boring. That's something I could have just written for you. You know what I mean?
So explain that though. What is popping off the page? Because that sounds very generic. So I want to drill it down, right? From a communication standpoint. Yeah, describe what does pop off the page mean.
Pop off the page means that you're a person who's seen 1,000 artist bios and press kits in your life. It has to
Mm-hmm.
be something. Why did you get interested in what you got interested in? Leave your bio off with a cool scenario that you started rapping for 15 cents every, during lunch. It
Mm-hmm.
needs to be something that I haven't heard before. Some people are so into cliches
Mm-hmm.
that as a
Mm-hmm.
journalist and as a publicist, it bores me to tears, y'all. If I hear, he
Mm.
was discovered in New York subways, who wasn't? You know what I mean? Bring something to the table. Like, who wasn't in the New York subway singing? I mean, there's amazing talent in New York. And I lived in Harlem for many years. I love New York, so I'm not dissing. But I'm just saying, bring something to the table, share your story. Don't try to be because you thought somebody else hit big of what they did. Well, that worked for them. That may not work for you. And honestly, just be authentic. Keep it 100. Keep it real. Don't try to put a facade because one thing I do know and what I do, people can smell a rat or smell something's not adding up and you're not being authentic off the break. Like you don't even have to tell them. Even I be looking at stuff on Instagram. Okay. So last year you was working at the Waffle House. This year you a multimillionaire. Y'all know what I mean? Like not
Busted.
dissing you. If that's your story and that happened, whoa, God is working for real. But if not, just keep it real. I kept my job at the Waffle House while I went after my career as a singer.
Mm-hmm.
People love that. People
Mm-hmm.
love
Mm-hmm.
to see the underdog win, right? Just
Mm-hmm.
keep it real. Like you're mad talented. You had to stay at the Waffle House. Ain't nothing wrong with the Waffle House. I love their waffles and their sunny side up eggs, like whatever. But just be authentic and be real with who you are and let that coming out on the page when you're writing your bio or having someone write their bio. Because I'm very serious when I write an artist's bio or a client's bio. I interview them for 30 minutes. I come up with 5 or 6 questions for them.
Mm-hmm.
And I interview them like I'm interviewing Taraji or Anthony Hamilton. I
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
interview them. I want to know, what makes you tick? What area of the world are you from? If you're from DC, oh, you listen to Go Go. What kind of Go Go you listen to? Red Essence, Chuck Brown, Junkyard? What is it? Northeast Groovers? I like to go. I love Go Go, but that's a whole other thing. I like to go in to their story. So when I just say I get, God just puts dust on me, and I'd be like, "Ooh, that's how I'm gonna use, what I interview them for, turn it into a bio," and it usually
Mm-hmm.
just works out. But it makes it so specific to that person that anybody who reads it. You don't have to go into it, but so much, the first, second paragraph, you can kind of guess who you're dealing with and where their inspiration is coming from. And that gets people hype. I know I get hype. I'm like, dang. So he did what? He used to work at the Waffle House now. Now he got a record deal. Or like,
Mm-hmm.
y'all remember Tyrese came out singing,
Yeah.
Coca Cola,
Coca-Cola.
Singing on
and
the
we were just like,
bus.
get on the bus. I'm like, who's that chocolate Nubian? Who is he? Like, why is he on the bus? How did he get on the bus? I love his voice. Who is this dude? And
Mm-hmm.
even back to I'm gonna take it back to the early '90s when Who is Jill Scott came out, and
Yes.
you
Mm-hmm.
never saw Jill Scott's face. Like I miss those times. It's like we share way too much now, y'all. I miss it when it was like, what I mean? Like I miss it when it was like so creative,
Mm-hmm.
so
It was a
interesting.
setup.
Like, who is Jill Scott? Like, oh, she a beast. Like, but who
Mm-hmm.
is she? What she look like? I had no idea. And I feel like now we overshare. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes that's kind of to the artist and the person's detriment. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to know everything. I want to know the cool things about you. I don't want to know all the business because that
Mm.
takes some of the, we're human, of course. So stuff
Right.
happens, but it kind of takes some of the fun off of it. Some of these artists are so always so disrespectful to women, are talking to their ladies like they crazy. Future,
I hear you.
I'm just being real. Me and that, I don't even know if I want to meet that brother. Honestly, my parents from Georgia. I'm like, okay, whatever. No, I'm not. I'm not here for the disrespect. I'm almost 50 years old. Like I'm grown, grown. And for the record, you're not gonna talk to me anyway. I'm just gonna be real with it. You're not gonna talk to me crazy. I'm about that respecting. So whether you are a rap artist, whether you are a dean of a school, it's about respect. And I don't care what you do, just be respectful of other people and you get that respect back.
Go ahead, Joel. I know you got a question, man. Go ahead.
Man, I got so many, and we only have like 5 minutes left.
I know, I know, I know. She's interviewing us to some degree.
It's not my fault.
Giving
I'm
it
a
to
journalist
us.
too.
Yes, I
we
see.
she needs her own show for real.
Thank you, gentlemen. I try.
We might need to put her as part of a. I don't know, Ken. We might have to bring her in on the 2021.
Yeah,
co-host with our own
I'm
segment.
Serious, guys. I'm loving this, and I enjoy you guys' vibe, and just on some real stuff. It's just nice to see Black men doing their thing. So I'm here for it.
We appreciate you because, which leads me to my next question is that the challenge of Black people in the PR world. I participated in a seminar that happened, and I think it was in April, where it was my buddy Chris Chambers,
and the Chambers group, yeah,
and it was the lady that represents Charlemagne actually, and she used to work for the Terry Williams agency.
I think I know who you're talking about. I can't call her name right now, but I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, so and just talking about that plight. So could you kind of share, within the next 3 minutes,
3 minutes for Darian.
I know. 3
I gotta
minutes
come back. Definitely gotta come back.
Yeah,
y'all.
we gotta do part 2.
Thank you. Yeah.
Let's talk about the challenge, and then also talk about what do you think is the proper solution to offset that challenge.
Very good.
I will say this as I celebrate 25 years as an entertainment publicist this year.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much, guys. It has not been easy, but I love what I do. But what I will say is this. Sometimes it has really, as someone who is guiding clients in Forbes, the stigma of being a Black publicist wears me out. Because like I say, it goes back to we are the culture, right? So, okay. And then also feeling like a white publicist. I literally had a friend of mine, and you guys are not gonna believe this, but it was like 15 years ago. He's a fashion stylist, and he literally told me, he said, Daria, you are an amazing publicist, but in what I do, I need to hire a white publicist to be taken seriously. And it was such a slap in the face.
Absolutely.
It was such a slap in the face.
Sorry you had to even hear that.
Yeah, it was, but the blessing is, Kevin, they had to tell me, it was good to hear it in a sense because you feel it.
Yeah,
you just never hear it per se, right? So I was like, damn. And I think that's what the deeper issue for me and my friends who are amazing Black publicists, they always acting like the other's ice is colder, but we bad as hell too when our ice is cold as hell too. So that's the
you're talking to an alpha man over there when you say ice.
Oh, ice cold. Y'all just had a Founders Day. Happy Founders Day.
I appreciate you.
I love the alphas. My daddy was a very proud Kappa, but that's a whole nother thing. Kappas are crazy. I love my Kappa daddy, but he was so arrogant. But anyway.
So what's the solution? Because I have an idea, but I'd love to hear from
Joel,
your perspective.
I honestly, I hate to. This is where I'm not so positive with it, right? I just keep being Black excellence, whether you want me to or not, right? Yeah. So I don't really think there's a solution, Joel. I'm serious. I just don't.
I know. I disagree, and I'm going to tell you why.
Oh, please do.
This is going to be interesting. He's telling you about your business. Go ahead, Joel. You're a major player. Well, I like to hear.
So this is the thing. I think a lot of times we have to fight back, right? So when that person says to you, you know what, I have to go with this white person to represent me, then you should say to them, okay, well, when this white person represents you, then you need someone that's going to look after your best interests. So we need to figure out a way in which we can put it in the budget where you can get both of us. Because when that white person doesn't need you anymore, who's still going to be there for you? Right?
And also, Joel, not to cut you off, but also too, what's interesting is they'll go with a white publicist, right? But the white publicist doesn't have the love for our culture, doesn't have love for what they do like I do, and I'm killing the game, right? But they'll realize that once that white publicist only gets them one press media outlet placement for a 3-month retainer or whatever. And I hate that. Like, I'm always looked at second best or the second option when I should be the first option. And if you look at my resume, I should really be the only option. Let's be honest.
That's right. That's right.
So I don't know. I just get so, I just seen so much in my career.
Well,
in my life.
I love your resiliency, and I think that's the word I hear. It's just
it's been
and it's resonating.
It's a lot of resiliency, Kevin. Totally. But I love what I do. Like, if I didn't love it,
well, that's the passion.
Given up a long time ago. Like, that's straight up. It's true. It's true. Like, if I didn't love what I do,
they said one of the essence of passion is you get paid next to nothing, or you get paid a whole lot. You would still do it either way, and
that's when you know you love what you do. Exactly. Right. Like, I love what I do. I love to see people that people hadn't ever heard of. I call myself a dream amplifier. Like, I love to amplify people's dreams. Like, people would never have heard of. They hear of them and they respect them and give them love. Because
I love really sincere publicists. I really feel that from you. And I have a Terry Williams story too. Terry and I met at Black Entrepreneurs Conference, sponsored by Black Enterprise years ago. And she had this technique that she would do. She'd meet you and she'd send you a letter. And she'd write in this letter, I'm wishing positive things for you. And
she knows the power of words.
Absolutely. And she put a little bit of her work in there. And that was so many, like over 20-something years ago. But never forgot
you still remember
how
it.
I first connected with her. And she just went out her way. And obviously, just before, all the simple communication. But she kept it truly traditional, old school, and wrote, which I thought was really powerful. And a true PR person has this distinct thing that they do. What's one of your superpowers, or one of your little things that you do that kind of makes you innate and a game changer? Give us a little bit of that. And then how do we reach you? How do we stay in touch with you?
Okay.
How do we continue to consume you, support you, build you up? So tell us those things. Is that cool as we go out, Joel?
That's perfect. As long as DJ Anna don't cut us off, but you know what, we got Zoom, so we keep it going.
Come on. DJ Anna, but I think that is such a great question, Kevin. The thing I'm most proud of, my superpower, is my media pitch. Okay. The reason I got Forbes, I got a whole feature done on my client that year, is because of the pitch I sent to another journalist that was so impressed by what I wrote that she forwarded it to the Forbes writer.
Oh, wow.
That's how I got it. It was so organic.
Love from somebody else.
I know, right? I mean, that's a big deal that she sent it to her friend, her contact at Forbes. So she hit me up, and the rest is history. Like, I placed Forbes just off of that. So my media pitching is one of my favorite parts of what I do. I love pitching the media. Okay. And then my sister just did, my sister was my client recently, and Joy just did her All Black Everything Summit for Black creatives. And I got my sister, Joy Fennell, literally on the Tamron Hall shows. Once they find a place for her, she'll be placed on there probably next year. So my media pitching is serious.
Okay.
How I can be contacted is by my website, for the Dairy Fennell Media Group, the article D as in Daria, F as in Frank, mediagroup.com. You can also find me on Instagram at all spelled out, the Daria Fennell Media Group, THEDARIA FENNELL Media Group. I can also be found on Twitter. I'm not really on Twitter like that, but I just keep it up at Daria F Media. And on Facebook, I'm Daria, Daria Fennell, Fennell. And like I said, I absolutely thank you guys for this invitation. I cannot wait to come back. And this was just pretty ball. I love talking about what I do. And I love talking about my Black culture, my Black people. And I just want us to win, y'all. Like, that's, at the end of the day, I just want us to be happy and whole and just blessed beings because we're human. And I want us to be blessed while we're here in this space, in this time. So I just really thank you guys for
thank you. But thank you for blessing us, Daria, and especially when you said the article. English teacher.
The article.
Yeah, I'm a writer. I write my butt off. So I'm going to get it in.
That's right. So
you're going to learn some words.
That's right. So once again, this is a great episode of Power Moves where
Thank
celebrities, athletes, key influential executives share how they make money, how they attract power, and how they earn respect. See you next week, baby.
Take care, Daria.
Thank you guys.